Hello everybody, welcome to Monday Market Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfeld, and here are 3 things that we need to be paying attention to for the upcoming trading week. Now, first and foremost, it's the election. We had a vote in America. Record turnout across the board. Congrats, America, for making your voice heard. Now that the voices have been heard, the question is, what do we do going forward? There are some challenges ahead. There'll be a nice tug of war between the Democrats and the Republicans and some major issues that we still need to resolve. First and foremost is, what's the narrative going to be? Will there be friendly talk or will there be hostile talk? There's going to be legal challenges. We're already hearing about some states being sued for their voting recounts, etc. We also have the election certification, which means each state has different timelines where they can finalize those votes. Some go into the middle of December. And the Electoral College, we'll see how that all pans out. But that leads to one major thing, which is concession. As it stands right now, President Trump has been defeated. Joe Biden has been the elected president. Now, does that mean that Trump is going to walk away peacefully and amicably? I don't know. We're seeing a lot of talk about some hostility there, and I'm not going to leave. How does that impact the markets going forward? From my perspective, probably going to bring a lot of volatility to it. So, for those of us who are active traders, we love it. For you long-term investors, probably going to pull some hair out. Although, last week, we saw some huge moves to the upside. We'll probably see some big swings like that in this week as well. All right, moving on to step number 2. It's going to be the 10-year bond auction. We don't talk about bonds a lot, but you know what? We should. There's some pretty important things going on with the bond market that you should all pay attention to, which is the rising rates you see on the right-hand side of your screen. You notice it's been falling aggressively since 2018, but it's starting to rise. Well, let's take a look at those numbers in more detail. Here, the little yellow line I just put on the screen is about 50 basis points. That's the lowest point that 10-year bond has reached in quite some time. Now, here is historically the numbers, and as you can see, they have been dropping aggressively till right around July of 2020. From there, that's where we bottomed out and started to rise. Now, why is it rising, and why is it important for you and me? Well, I got to remember the relationship that bonds have. As bond prices fall, yields will rise. And a rising bond market means those yields get higher, money becomes more expensive. Now, if we look at the current situation, since COVID hit in February, we saw this huge amount of debt added to the government's balance sheets. In order to fund that debt, the Treasury is going to sell more bonds to be able to pay that interest. What do they have to do? Remember, if we have sellers coming into the market, we're all supply and demand traders here from Online Trading Academy. When you have an abundance of sellers, a lot more sellers, and the same amount or fewer buyers, where's price going to go? Straight down. That's what's been happening to the price of the bonds, but as a result, the yields have been moving up aggressively to right now that 10-year is at 0.78. Again, why is this important? Because your 30-year fixed mortgage is based off of the 10-year bond. So as that number rises, your mortgages are going to be becoming more and more expensive. Hopefully you don't have an adjusted 30-year mortgage. Hopefully it's a fixed. But this will create a rise in the cost of capital for businesses and for people like you and I. It might actually start to slow down the housing market as that becomes a little bit more expensive for us to use and get that money. All right, moving on to the final thing, earnings season. Oh yes, it's not as exciting as it was a couple weeks ago, but there still are some major names that you should be paying attention to, especially on Monday. Now, there are 753 companies reporting. We start off with a bunch of cannabis stocks. That's right, pot stocks take the Monday morning. That's Canopy Growth, Aurora, and Tilray. For those of you who do smoke cannabis, you also have McDonald's reporting earnings. And for those of you Robinhood traders that got lured into a bankrupt company telling you that their shares are going to go to zero, Hertz also reports earnings on Monday. Now looking at Tuesday, you have Rocket Companies, D.H. Horton, NTAP on Wednesday. Thursday brings you Disney, Applied Materials, and Cisco. And on Friday, we have DraftKings, which has been one of the darling stocks over the past few months. But now that all the sports have stopped, except for NFL, might see that one drift down just a little bit more. That, my friends, is your Monday Market Must Knows. We'll see you next week.